Dark Passage is a confusing name for an ability. All it really seems to do is throw a lantern to a target location and give shields to one guy. And Thresh if he's there too. That's it. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Wait, what? You can click the lantern?! This just in, you can actually click an allied Thresh's lantern in order to dash straight to Thresh, but I'm not sure this has ever actually happened in a game of League of Legends, so I could be lying to you right now. But in case it's true, Thresh's lantern does give a shield which has a base shield health of 50 up to 130 at rank 5. It also scales with souls gathered through your passive. More on those in this video, watch it after, with every soul you collect granting +2 shield health. Equating this temporary health with actual purchasable health makes each soul worth 5.34 gold in shield health. More on the worth of a soul in this video, watch that too. While you're at it, press this funny button. This shield can only affect Thresh himself and one extra friendly target, prioritizing those with the lowest HP, so long as said targets are touching the lantern. By itself, this isn't an amazingly strong shield compared to most, but if you'd believe it, you used to be able to shield everyone on your team with this back in the day. But this modern lack of value is made up for in its potential utility when an ally clicks it. Clicking the lantern grants that player a dash straight towards Thresh. This dash is interruptible by usual means of knockups and the like, but is possibly one of the longest non-ultimate dashes in the entire game, longer even than Tristana's rocket jump. Using it to get someone out of a bad situation is a common enough usage and allows Thresh to actually make up for an ally's bad decision from a very safe distance, if they'd actually click it. So one of the tricks to actually using the lantern is doing everything in your power to get allies to click on it. This involves making it as pretty, inviting and warm as possible, giving your every last thought and consideration towards your target ally. But just remember, kinda like how you won't land every single hook. Watch this video, please. It feels like no matter what you do to get allies to focus on it, you can't actually control your teammates and force them to click on the lantern. Sometimes they just think flash is a better idea, sometimes they just won't see it, and I don't know. I play Thresh, to be honest with you. I don't know what goes on in their head. I mean, I can't click my own lantern, can I? So our goal with lantern placement is to try and combat as many of these barriers as possible. And while we cannot cover every single potential situation that will arrive in League, we can simplify it to a set of priorities. The shield on the lantern doesn't have the best base values, but has a significant cast range and good scaling as you gather souls throughout the course of most games. It can often be just enough to save a life. As such, if a situation is called where shield health from the lantern could be a differing factor for whatever that situation is, making sure that shield health is granted to your target is more important than the dash itself, as the time bought by that shield could be what helps them click the lantern in the first place. Not many players will even realize the lantern was an escape option until it's already there, so that helps with reaction time as well. And of course, even in non-escape situations like intense 2v2s or even 1v1s, that shield health can still be the difference maker in winning a fight. For our second priority, we want to place a lantern close enough that the ally can get it. This might seem obvious, but there is a certain nuance to this. Simply throwing the lantern where the ally currently is, kind of like throwing a hook, could end up placing the lantern behind them by the time they react, or during its travel time. This means they might now have to walk back to get it, possibly getting into the enemy's dash, engage, or straight up kill range. As such, throwing the lantern ahead of where they're running is much preferred. If you were a baby, you could complain that it's a skill issue on your ally's part, and they should have known a lantern was coming, but you were the one with the power to choose where the lantern goes. Don't be a baby. Be the responsible caretaker you are. This goes very much hand in hand with the next priority, placing the lantern far away enough from any blockers. If enemy champions stand in front of the lantern, they can actually block one's ability to click it. This is much easier with larger champions like Cho'Gath, but any size of champion can easily do this by dropping a ward on the lantern. This leads to an awful situation where if an ally sees the lantern too late, they actually go back into danger to try to escape, but don't actually get the lantern dash at all and are now very dead. Often when trying to lantern an escaping ally, this goes perfectly well together with the previous priority. But when trying to give someone an out from a 1v1, they might not realize they're going to lose just yet. It's important to not allow that block attempt by positioning the lantern away from enemies. There's another point about lantern blocking that we'll get to later. Finally, we want to make the lantern visually apparent. Now, it is a big glowing light source, but sometimes it can be missed in the midst of massive action, with a bunch of spell effects playing out in a teamfight. While this is the last priority for a reason, and giving your target a shield matters way more, also attempt to go around the edge of that shield range in order to place it on the outskirts of all this visual overlap to try and help your ally see the lantern was an option in the first place. It's a minor point, I'll admit, but it can potentially be the difference maker, particularly when not playing with premades. Of course, there is another player whose positioning matters when relating to the lantern. You. Since your ally dashes to your location over time, this means that the further out you go from the lantern, the longer the dash can be, and any ground you cover during the dash time means they get to travel even further. This means dashes as well on your part. Lanterning an ally, waiting for them to click, then flashing to engage with Flay is a great surprise tactic and a particularly strong, if high cost, way of supporting your jungler's gank. An even longer dash can be achieved by using your hook. Due to the stun time of the hook, you can always throw your lantern during the travel time of your Q, or once the hook is hit, then dashing in with it once your ally has clicked the lantern. There are limits to this, so you can't quite use teleport to make comically long lantern pulls. Doing aggressive lanterns like this does mean that if your ally does not click the lantern, you won't get a shield yourself, at least not immediately. The way to gain the lantern shield without touching it is to break it by leaving tether range. This is important to leverage not only when allies forget to click it, but also in lanes and even solo lanes. But why would you throw your lantern in a solo lane other than for ganks? Where does Thresh actually store all of the souls he's stolen? In the lantern. So it should make sense that throwing the lantern at a soul will absorb them too, and you can use this as a reliable, though high cooldown method to get souls you otherwise couldn't reach. This does turn it offline for quite a while, which makes it unfavourable when you might need to shield or drag your ADC out of a bad situation or help with a gank, so you need to weigh your options carefully. If the only option is to secure a soul, then go for it. Beyond flashy plays with dashes, hooks and flays, in combination with the lantern, what else can you do with Thresh's W? For one, you can throw it back to your competent teammates, since after all, competent teammates all have one important quality that makes this kind of lantern work. They're imaginary. And so this burst of confidence can shake up an opponent who doesn't want to fight outnumbered. Of course, if they choose to fight, you lose any potential advantage here, and if they brought their own real jungler, well, that's certainly not in your favour either. Speaking of faking, I talked about it more in depth in the hook guide video, but you can try and throw lanterns sometimes like a fake hook. It can make it more credible if you stand still for half a second to simulate a fresh hook cast time, and playing a taunt animation or even a recall with certain skins like Janitor can prompt a response, with or without you throwing out your lantern as a fake hook. While sometimes people outright refuse to click the lantern, other times they'll click it no matter what, like a weird peer pressure. Using this peer pressure, you can convince your teammates that what they're doing is wrong. Like going for a fight with no vision, or going to int, or doing anything you disagree with. But to frame this more positively and less like a tyrant, this Jhin here sees I'm closer to the miniwave and thinks I'd want it for myself, so he willingly walks away to give it up. And I throw a lantern to say, hey, it's okay, I'm just after the souls. There is one final thing I have to say about the lantern, and that is that it is there. It's right there. No, really, it's a thing that exists right there. Things can collide with it. Now, it's really obvious in how it can block pathing on minions and monsters, and if you were slaying jungle monsters as Thresh, it can be a great help in kiting them after your shields are depleted. But using this to block champions works in theory. My best advice in trying to block enemy champions is to try and catch them as they hug a wall while rounding a corner, and sometimes this can happen. As you can see, this clip is very old, as it's basically my only recorded instance where the lantern pathing block actually did anything. If the Gwen didn't say anything in text chat, I would have assumed they just stopped moving by their own volition, in all honesty. But perhaps more interesting is everything you can do with Thresh's Q as seen in this video, and it will appear in the end screen as well. While we don't have as much to talk about with Thresh's W, I'm sure the next video in line will more than make up for it. It's almost basically a 2-in-1 deal. I hope you look forward to that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Shoutouts to the members: AJBeat91, Warsquid, Ultimate Ground, Cryo's Dad, Gentleman Zeta, Luna Eagle 1996, 53rd Alabama Booty Obi-Wan Kenobi, Enera, AC Immortal, Mr. Noodle, Bass1378, Gilbert Morals, Tiemann Caranthil, Luxius, Dario Castro, Entity9, Overseer, N. Luca, Colorado Cosmico, Hollowed, Luna Arc, and King of the Crossroads, the Vex crew. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel.